Have you ever noticed those people you see every day, but don't really see? The ones in the background of your life, blending into the scenery? This is a story about one of them. A man named Daniel. You might pass him on the street without a second thought. He worked long, grueling shifts as a security guard. He was always tired, always quiet, and always carried an old, worn-out backpack that seemed to hold the weight of the world. Every single morning, at exactly 5:15, Daniel stood at the same bus stop. He was never late, never in a hurry. Just there. And every morning, a young student named Aria waited there too, clutching her textbooks, trying to wake up with a cup of cheap coffee. For a long time, they were just two strangers sharing a space. They never spoke. Daniel would stare at the road ahead, his expression unreadable. Aria would keep her head down, lost in her notebooks, cramming for her next exam. They existed in parallel, their worlds never touching. But then came a cold, windy morning. A sudden gust ripped through the bus stop, and Aria's notes flew from her hands. Papers scattered everywhere, dancing in the wind like fallen leaves. She let out a small cry of frustration, scrambling to chase them down, but it was hopeless. They were everywhere. And then something happened. Daniel, without a moment of hesitation, set down his heavy backpack and started helping. He moved with a quiet efficiency, gathering every last sheet from the pavement, the bushes, the street. He carefully stacked them, smoothed them out, and handed them back to her with a gentle, unexpected smile. "Always secure the top paper," he said, his voice soft and a little raspy. It was the first time Aria had ever heard him speak. His words were simple, practical, but his kindness was profound. It was a small gesture, but it changed everything. From that day on, the silence between them was broken. Their conversations started small. "Looks like rain today," or "How was school?" Nothing deep, nothing personal. Just simple exchanges to fill the morning air. But as they talked, Aria started to notice things about Daniel. Little details that painted a bigger picture. She noticed how he never touched his own lunch, a simple sandwich in a plastic bag, until he saw that she had something to eat for the day. If she forgot her lunch, he'd offer his, insisting he wasn't hungry. She noticed how on the crowded bus, he would always give up his seat to someone else, even when his own legs were visibly trembling with exhaustion after a 12-hour shift. He'd just lean against a pole, his eyes closed, enduring the ride in silence. He never, ever complained. Not about the long hours, the low pay, the ache in his bones. There was a quiet strength to him, a resilience that Aria found herself admiring more and more. One morning, Aria arrived at the bus stop to find Daniel already on the bench, but something was wrong. He was breathing heavily, his face pale and slick with a cold sweat. His hands, usually so steady, were shaking. "Are you okay?" she asked, her voice laced with concern. Daniel just nodded weakly, trying to manage a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Just a bit tired," he mumbled. "You should go home and rest," she insisted, her brow furrowed with worry. "You don't look well at all." He gave another faint smile, and this time, his eyes held a deep, profound weariness. "I can't," he said, his voice barely a whisper. "My son, he needs the tuition this month. I can rest after he graduates." And in that one sentence, everything clicked into place for Aria. The heavy backpack, the long hours, the exhaustion. It wasn't just a job for Daniel. It was a mission. He wasn't just a tired old man. He was a father, carrying the dreams of his child on his shoulders. That backpack he carried wasn't just filled with his belongings. It was filled with sacrifice, with hope, with a father's unwavering love. The next week, Daniel didn't show up at the bus stop. Aria waited, a knot of anxiety tightening in her stomach. He wasn't there the next day either, or the day after that. The familiar 5:15 a.m. routine felt unnervingly empty without his quiet presence. Worried, Aria started asking around. She spoke to the bus driver, other regulars, anyone who might have seen him. Finally, she learned the news she had been dreading. Daniel had collapsed during his shift. He was in the hospital. Clutching a small bouquet of flowers from the corner shop, Aria found his room. She felt nervous, like she was intruding, but she had to see him. When she walked in, Daniel looked genuinely surprised to see her there, lying in the sterile hospital bed. You didn't have to come," he whispered, his voice weak. Aria pulled a chair to his bedside and sat down. She looked at this man who had become such an important part of her mornings. "You always showed up for everyone," she said softly. "I thought someone should show up for you too." Over the next few weeks, Aria became a regular visitor. She learned his son's name was Leo. She helped Leo with his homework, bringing her textbooks to the hospital and explaining complex problems. She brought Daniel home-cooked meals, a welcome change from the bland hospital food. Most importantly, she made sure he had someone to talk to, someone to share the long, quiet hours with. The bus stop felt different without him, but the story of his quiet kindness had spread. When he finally recovered and returned, his first morning back was different. As he approached the bench, the small crowd of regulars, the faces he'd seen for years, greeted him not as a stranger, but as a friend. There were smiles, waves, and warm words of welcome. He wasn't invisible anymore. He was part of a community, a family forged in the early morning light. Aria never forgot the lessons Daniel taught her. They weren't from a textbook or a lecture hall. They were taught through the quiet, powerful example of his life. He showed her that doing good doesn't need an audience or applause. He showed her that true strength doesn't need to be loud or boastful. And he showed her that kindness, the truest and most beautiful kind, is often seen only by those who take the time to look closely. True stories of kindness rarely make the headlines. They don't shout for attention. They happen in the small, forgotten moments of our day. On shared benches at a bus stop, in quiet sacrifices that no one sees, and in the hearts of ordinary people who just keep giving, even when they think no one is watching. So the next time you're out in the world, take a moment. Look a little closer at the people around you. You might just find a hero hiding in plain sight. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more inspiring content. We'll see you in the next one.